You know that feeling when you can't stop thinking about them, even when they hurt you? That's not love. That's emotional attachment. It's tricky because it feels real, like you're supposed to stay, like it's deep, but it quietly takes control. What starts as connection turns into obsession, and before you realize it, you've built a prison out of your own heart. That's the problem. And the worst part, you think it's normal. This kind of attachment makes you ignore red flags. You start making excuses for their behavior, telling yourself they'll change or they're just having a bad day. But if those bad days keep coming and you keep forgiving without seeing change, that's not kindness. That's fear of losing something you think you can't live without. Most people don't realize it's happening. It starts slow. One day they don't text back and your chest tightens. You start checking your phone every 3 minutes, you can't eat, can't focus, your whole mood depends on their reply. That's not love. That's emotional dependency disguised as romance. The truth is, emotional attachment is sneaky. It makes you think you need them to feel whole. But being with someone shouldn't feel like you're holding your breath all day, hoping they treat you right. You're not supposed to chase peace in a relationship. Peace should come with it. If you're nodding right now, it's because part of you already knows. So let's talk about the signs, because the moment you can name what's happening is the moment you start to take your power back. Ever feel like your emotions are on a leash they're holding? That's not love. That's they control your mood without saying a word. When you're attached too deeply, their actions start to rule your emotions. If they're happy, you're glowing. If they're distant, you're spiraling. You wake up feeling fine, but then they don't text, and suddenly your whole day crashes. This isn't just caring, it's giving someone else the remote to your emotional life. The danger is you don't even realize it at first. You just feel off. Then you start checking their mood like it's your job. Your energy becomes reactive. You cancel plans just in case they might call. You don't sleep well because you're waiting on a message. You start living in their world and forget you had your own. But you can take that power back. It starts by noticing when you feel triggered. When you get anxious, pause. Ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if they don't respond? Usually, it's a fear of abandonment. Once you name it, you can sit with it, not run from it. And slowly you start building emotional independence. That's when they lose the remote. And you get to change the channel. Another dangerous pattern is you keep forgiving things you shouldn't. You tell yourself, I know they didn't mean it, or they're just stressed. But deep down, something feels wrong. You know, if a friend told you the same story, you'd tell them to leave. But for some reason, you stay. You shrink your boundaries until there's nothing left to protect. The reason? You've tied your self-worth to keeping the relationship. So walking away feels like failure, but walking away from pain is not failure. It's the first brave step to freedom. You ever catch yourself thinking, I know they don't treat me right, but I just can't let go? That's not weakness. That's a sign you've confused intensity with intimacy. It's easy to mix the two up. When there are high highs and low lows, it feels like passion, like something deep and real. But what you're really caught in is chaos, and chaos is addictive. The constant fights, the tearful makeups, the drama, it keeps your brain chasing resolution, like a roller coaster. And the brain starts associating that emotional roller coaster with love. You start thinking, if it doesn't hurt a little, maybe it's not real. That's a lie. Love isn't supposed to feel like survival. The moment you crave peace more than attention, you'll finally realize what real love should feel like. Calm, not crazy. Start tracking the difference. When someone respects you, they don't keep you guessing. You feel safe, not addicted. You don't need to prove your worth over and over. You just exist, and that's enough. Here's another tricky one. You mistake possession for connection. When you're attached, you start monitoring. Who liked their post? Who did they text back? You feel this silent pressure to be enough, to be chosen. And so, you cling harder. You start needing proof they care all the time. But love isn't about owning someone. You can love someone and still let them breathe. If you constantly need reassurance, that's not on them. It's your inner child begging not to be left. Heal that part of you. Start giving yourself the love you keep trying to earn from them. You know when you start changing little things about yourself just to make them stay? That's not growth. That's survival mode. That's when you start abandoning yourself to be loved. You stop saying what bothers you. You dress the way they like. You hold back your opinions to avoid fights. You become more easygoing, not because you are, but because you're scared of being too much. Slowly, your identity fades. You wake up and barely recognize who you are without them. You say yes when you want to say no. You laugh at jokes that hurt. You let them cross boundaries because calling it out feels like a risk. But love doesn't ask you to become invisible. You shouldn't have to choose between being yourself and being loved. What you can do instead is notice when you're shrinking. Next time you feel that gut pull, maybe I shouldn't say this, ask yourself, am I being honest or am I just afraid? Start taking up space again. The right person won't make you feel like you have to fit inside a box to be kept. Then there's you lose interest in everything else but them. Your hobbies, your goals, your friends, everything starts to revolve around this one person. And you don't even realize it because it feels romantic, like they're your everything. But that's not romantic, that's risky. Because if they leave, your whole world crumbles. Love should add to your life, not erase the rest of it. You're supposed to have a life with them, not around them. So reconnect with what makes you feel alive on your own. Hang out with people who remind you who you were before the relationship. Build something that's just yours. That way, you're choosing them, not clinging to them out of fear that there's nothing else. You know that panic you feel when they take too long to text back? That's not just anxiety, that's a sign you've made them your emotional safety net. You start thinking, if they leave, I'll fall apart. So every silence feels like danger. Every little distance feels like abandonment. And it messes with your nervous system. Fight, flight, freeze, all just from a message bubble not popping up. When you make someone your emotional oxygen, every moment without them feels like suffocation. But here's the thing. No one should carry the weight of your emotional survival. That's too much pressure. And it's not fair to you either, because you're stronger than you think. You just forgot how to stand on your own. Start small. Don't try to numb the fear. Face it. Notice it. Talk to it like it's a younger version of you who just wants to be safe. And then remind yourself, safety isn't found in another person. It's built inside you, moment by moment. You can care deeply and still hold your center. You can love someone and still let go of the grip. Because real love isn't about control. It's about freedom. At the end of the day, emotional attachment only controls you when you let it make you forget who you are. But now you know the signs, you've seen what it looks like, and most importantly, you've felt it. So now's your moment. Breathe. Take a step back. Reclaim your space. You're not hard to love. You just forgot that the first person who's supposed to love you is you.